Welcome to Championship Culture. We've got a great guest with us tonight. Eric Schreiber is the head football coach at West Side H.S. in Gary, Indiana. And hey, buddy, I appreciate you coming on and doing this for me, buddy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, Coach.
Well, I can't wait to, I always got this thing about the younger coaches. I just feel like, culture comes a little easier to them. So I'm always excited about stealing ideas from the young guys. Because I feel like they got, they got a better pulse on the kids than maybe an older guy does. So excited to hear your story and steal your ideas. So let's jump into it. Question one, can you give a 1 minute elevator introduction of yourself?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, like you said, Coach, my name's Eric Schreiber Jr. I'm a man of God. I'm the husband to my beautiful wife, Sierra. I've got three little ones, three little babies, and got number 4 on the way. I'm the head football coach at Gary West Side Leadership Academy in Gary, Indiana. And, prior to that, I was an assistant coach, special teams coordinator, and running backs coach at Homewood Flossmoor. Under Coach Bazia in Illinois, and so that's kind of my brief little elevator intro for you.
How old are your kids?
3.5, 2, and 1. So had them all in a row. Had to knock them all out.
Now you are aware of what's causing that, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Question number 2, how do you define culture in your program?
All right. Yeah. So culture, I think, is my ability as the head football coach, to put an action towards a vision that our student athletes buy into. And I think ultimately, as coaches, we're not reinventing the wheel. It's a lot of it's copy and paste. And I genuinely believe that player-led teams, positive player-led teams, are ultimately the best football teams. Other than your Jimmies and Joes that obviously help your team win some ball games. The culture ultimately precedes everything, and if we can find that culture that the kids can buy into and that the players ultimately lead. I think to me that's what culture is.
I love it, and I really want to hear how do you do that? How
Right.
do you get the kids to lead the culture? So hopefully, question number 3 is, what's the 3 best things you do to build culture in your program? And I hope one of them's giving us the details of that, because I just think it's easier said than done sometimes to get the kids to head out, to step out and be the lead dogs on your culture.
Yeah.
So let's
right, man. Yeah. So it's I think it's all about action. A lot of the things, culture is the fad, I think, today. But a lot of it is action. First and foremost, our weight training program, I think with almost every, elite high school program, college program, that's ultimately, I think, where it starts, is our weight training program in the off season. The bond that our players really build in the weight room is something that you can't replicate, even on a football field. And so that pride, passion, and purpose, I think, is cultivated there. One thing that we do unique and within our weight training program, it may be unique, it may not be. I think, I took this from a college. I think Olivet College is a Division III program in Michigan. They do a team challenge, and what it really does is just it really allows you to find the leaders within your team, right? And so what we do is, we have 5 captains that are voted on by the coaches, and those kids draft from the players on their team, and they can build, they can gain points, through attendance, through grades, behavior in school, even lifting, getting gains in the weight room, or even decreasing in the weight room, because sometimes, sadly, that happens. And so There's other areas, volunteering, which I'll get to here in a second, which is part of our program that I think helps cultivate that culture. But our boys have thrived in that this offseason. I think that's really where we've seen so many gains is just from that team challenge, that competitive atmosphere we've been able to build in the weight room has helped build that culture in our program.
When do you begin that, and how long does it last?
Right. Immediately after the season ends, I say immediately, a few weeks after the season ends, we narrow down those five to 10 kids that could potentially lead, a team or draft a team. And then, and I've had some coaches tell me that they don't even pick, those guys. They usually let the teammates pick them. Being in first year in the program, I kind of got an idea, in a rebuild like we're in, I felt the need to pick those guys and with the coaching staff. And so, that goes from 2 weeks after the season ends until really August hits, fall camp. That's usually when we start and end it.
All through the summer, you're still doing that, and
Right.
Yeah, I've never done that, but I've had a lot of good coaches say that that's one of their keys. So I love it. I gotta do it. All right.
For sure.
There's one.
Next. Right. Yeah. So number two, sorry to cut you off, Coach. Number two is what we do is a leadership academy or a captain's academy. We meet once a week, and we really, in those meetings, break down the philosophy behind our leadership, our culture, and the family atmosphere we try to build with our boys. And it's totally optional for the kids. They don't have to come, which I think kind of helps me get a gauge on, who's buying in. Some kids maybe can't make it, for whatever reason. But the kids that want to show up and make it, we've had as many as 30 kids in that at one time, which is amazing. But what this does is give our student athletes an opportunity to really understand in more detail the culture we're trying to build, which is about selflessness. That's like the core of really any great program, I feel like, and getting our kids to understand that and buy into that is very important. And then the third thing we do is which really helps really bring the culture into action is volunteering in the community. Again, it's not rocket science. It's not some, reinventing the wheel, but that's something that we've really found this off season has helped boys really get an understanding of that, putting others before myself mentality that we're trying to, drive into their head every day, that it's not about them. It's a bigger picture, right? It's not, it's not about me as the head coach. It's not about, really the team. It's everybody. It's the community. It's the high school. It's the teachers, the faculty, everybody to make this thing, a successful program. And so we spend a lot of time about that, talking about selflessness. And we've had so far 4 opportunities to volunteer in the community this off season. We try to do at least one a month. We got one coming up here in April. And it's really good for the boys to get an understanding of who's in the community, who's around, how to help out, really get, engaged. We actually got a boy, a student athlete, a job volunteering, which is something that was pretty unique, but it was good. And so that those are the 3 things that I think we do best within our program building culture.
Love it. Let me the Captain Academy. So it sounds like that's open to all players.
Right. Yeah. We try to find captains from 9th grade to 12th grade because we think we need captains on our freshman team. We need captains on our JV and our varsity. And I don't think that anyone's too old or young to lead. So that's kind of how we do it.
So you're opening the door to everybody, and then you're kind of tracking who's actually coming, who's actually buying in, and that.
Right. Yeah. We track. So to even qualify, how we do it, we qualify them as captains by they have to attend at least like 80%, I believe, is what we have it set up as. 80% of all meetings. And so we do once a week. We started in February. We're going to go until April here. And they need to attend 80% of those meetings to qualify as a captain, or to be voted on by their peers as a captain. And so that's kind of how we narrow that down as well.
Are you working through a curriculum, or is it a curriculum you're creating? What information are you feeding during because that's a lot of meetings once a week.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I got a really good leadership academy curriculum, through my father. He coached for a long time. And so I kind of took it from him, stole from him. He took it from another coach, again, that copy and paste, type of thing. And so we're going through that right now. But yeah, it's a whole curriculum. It's really a class, in honesty. I mean, it's really a leadership class. It could be a whole semester type of deal, but we try to narrow it down on, things that we feel as a coaching staff, our boys should be, focused on, and again, that comes with relationships, that comes with getting to know your kids. That's not just something I wake up and I'm like, hey, we're going to go over this today. Right. It's definitely more thought out than that.
When are your meetings, as far as I'm thinking about conflicting with other sports? Is it, do you have a time during the day? Do you meet after school at night? When are you trying to get those done?
Yeah, we'll get them done. We'll get them done after weights, usually even after other practices, to give all the guys an opportunity to join that class. We'd obviously influence our boys to play multiple sports. We want them to do that. We definitely don't penalize them for doing that. So we want to give them all an opportunity. So it'll be a night type of deal. Usually 6:30 to 7:30 is when those meetings take place.
Are they live or on Zoom?
Both. Yeah, it's in person, and we even do like a little Google Meet option as well for those boys that can't hang out that late. Got to get home to the family and whatnot. So we'll give them that option as well.
Okay, and then your community volunteer stuff. Can you give some examples of what you guys have done?
Right. Yeah, we did a toy drive with a local church here in Gary, Indiana, and partnered with a nonprofit group in the city to help pass out toys and just different items around Christmas time. We also helped a local business package some popcorn and clean up a little bit, in their restaurant and their business. And we did that for a few days throughout a week. And then the next thing we're doing is a charity walk with the same nonprofit group that we worked with the toy drive. And really it comes down to who needs help. I'm very open on, where we go and who reaches out to us and how it can fit into our off-season schedule. But it's not real specific. It's not, I wish it was more planned out, but it's not necessarily as planned out as I'd like. But just as it comes in the off-season, when we're approached by somebody, we'll hop on to as much as we can do.
I think the community volunteer stuff that glues your community to your team. I mean, there's nothing like it to get just to get the community excited about what you're doing. So that's
exactly.
Those are great, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Number 4. This is funny, talking to a young guy.
Right.
You're a veteran now. You're in the second year. You're a veteran.
I bet. Yeah.
Your hair's gonna start turning gray and falling out.
Right.
What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first got started?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like you said, yeah, I'm young, obviously. So I kind of just thought about, as a naive young guy, you really think coaching's about X's and O's, and it's not, man. It's not. And a lot of what I've gotten to know about the game is just it's the mentoring aspect. It's being a tutor. It's just being a listening ear to a kid, and getting to know the young man or even young woman that joins the program or as a manager, as a football player, and the relationship aspect, again, it's not something that, has driven me away. It's only driven me closer to loving the game and loving football, loving coaching. But the relationship aspect is something that, I wish I would have been more prepared on, because, you look at different, famous head football coaches, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, they talk about the psychological aspect of the player, more than anything, and that's embedded into their culture. And so, as I'm growing, as I continue this career, this profession in coaching, that's something that I'm going to spend, and I'm spending time on now, just trying to develop that psychological aspect, I guess, of coaching football and getting the best out of your boys, every day, really. So, yeah.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
I had I think probably on here, I had an old guy tell me that the X's and O's are the easiest 10% of this job.
Man, right. Yeah. I mean, there's so much information out there, I mean, playbooks are all over, and I mean, everyone knows everything, right? So you can get about, your pod. I mean, I watch a lot of your stuff as well. So, I mean, I know there's so much information out there. So yeah, that's definitely the easiest 10% for sure.
That was great. Now tell me this, because this is always my theory. Do you think the culture stuff and the relationship stuff is easier for a young guy, or is it a challenge for all of us?
I think it's a challenge for everyone. And I believe that just because, what it comes down to, in my opinion, is people skills. If you know how to speak with people, you have the ability to, really to lead from the front. If you can do that and cultivate a culture that gets people to buy in, because it's really, I mean, it's not even just the kids, right? I mean, we're talking about parents, we're talking about administration, we're talking about a community, to get them to buy into this culture, that you're trying to do. And whether or not it's vocally spoken to those people, they see it by what you're doing. And, it goes back to action. And, and I think kids buy in to a culture, to a program, if their parent is on board, if the community's on board, if the administration, the school, shows this effort, to be on board with this vision, this culture. And, so no, I don't think it's necessarily like an age issue, because actually most of the guys I learned from about this are older guys, like Nick Saban, and Urban Meyer, the legends of the game that have done it for so long and have adapted and, and learned different ways to connect with the younger, group of guys that are coming up. So no, I don't think it's an age thing.
I've told the story before, but I saw Urban talk at the UNC clinic probably 2 years ago now, and I was literally teary eyed listening to him, because he was just at such a high level as far as even just the way he teaches things.
Right.
There were probably 500 coaches in there, and he started. He calls it on the edge of your seat teaching, and he started people and asking questions. And I mean, everyone in there was scrambling, checking their notes, because if they got called, they wanted to be able to have the right answer. So
right,
literally had the whole room on the edge of their seat, and he didn't even know their names. He would just point, you red sweater, every
right.
checking their notes as best they could.
That's awesome, man.
But it's just when you get around those elite guys and you see how they do it, it just it inspires you to be better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I know you're on Twitter. Can you share your Twitter handle so everyone can get in touch with you?
Right. Yeah. My Twitter is at Eric, ERIC Schreiber, SCHREI, B as in boy, ER, and then Junior, JR. That is my Twitter handle. And that's kind of where you can reach me if you have any questions.
Awesome. Do you have anything to promote, or
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. I want to promote our program, my program, Gary West Side football, really just for the boys, for the guys that strap it up in the orange and navy. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at WS Cougars FB. That's where you can keep in touch with our football program, kind of see what we're doing. I'll retweet stuff that we're doing, but I really try to promote the program through those pages, and and try to get as much exposure to our boys as possible through those platforms. So yeah, yeah.
Do you have a coach in charge of that social media, or do you handle that yourself? How does that work?
Right. Yeah, I do it all. So I'm doing the social media part. I just, they call me Twitter fingers. That's my nickname. So I'm always on there trying to promote the program and whatnot.
Well, that's impressive. The guys that do a great job with their social media, I just think it's so important now. And and unfortunately, I'm not one of them, and I haven't got time to coach. I do the Facebook. We use Remind, for our internal communication.
Right.
I haven't found one that would get the Twitter and the Instagram and the TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Yep.
Find one that gets excited about it to share that. So I'm gonna definitely put that on the show notes. Also, your West Side Cougars FB.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Follow you, and man, you've done a great job. So you got the final word. Anything on your heart that you want to share?
All right.
As far as the game or kids or COVID, whatever you want to talk about.
No, yeah. No, I think, thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on. I think one of the things that, I think a lot of guys get caught up in, especially young coaches that are out there, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take chances. That's a cliche, but it's so real. There's a lot of young guys that they're too scared to take opportunities to go off the path and go kind of forge their own. And a lot of the game of football isn't about recreating stuff. Most of everything that's been done has been done, and it's just about being able to learn the game as much as you can and apply it, where you can genuinely fit it into your philosophy and all that type of stuff. So it's not about what you've been able to do. Again, it's what we teach the boys. It's all about selflessness and putting others first, and there aren't any shortcuts in this game. So no, I think a lot of guys just get caught up in that fear-driven mentality and don't take chances or don't take opportunities. Take opportunities and forge your own path.
And that was awesome, and you did a fantastic job. You absolutely hit a home run, buddy, and I appreciate
Thank you, man.
doing this.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you.